Can I ask one more question? So, with this new job, I started out inside as a coordinator and I got promoted rather quickly within 6 months to a director position. It was always the plan, but it wasn't supposed to happen as quickly as it did. So when this promotion happened, I got quite a considerable increase in my pay. And I thought, oh, I'm really like pulling in the money now. I'm manifesting. This is what I wanted. But then it just stopped. And I kept waiting, and I kept checking with my boss as the raise been put in. I kept checking with my office lady, has it happened? She's like, no, we need signatures. And I kept thinking, what? It's right there. Why am I blocking it? So finally I called my boss last week and I said, should I be worried? What's going on that this isn't happening? It was supposed to happen effective March 5th. So he calls the HR guy. Long story short, they get into a heated back and forth. My HR guy, for some reason, didn't agree with it. He thought, she doesn't have enough experience, she's not worked here long enough, and that's over a double increase in her pay, and he was just sitting on it. And he actually didn't have the power to veto it, he just was literally keeping from putting it in the system. Now, with all my teachings, was that me? And I've only met this man like 2 or 3 times for maybe 5 minutes. He was very pleasant, but he was literally sitting on my raise, blocking it. And then I think, well, if everything happens because of what I'm creating, I did that, or pulled that out of him, right?
Well, of course you did.
But why would I do that? I mean, I have felt it. I know what's in my vortex. I have gotten so excited, I literally thought I was going to vibrate out of my body. I know what it feels like. I've spent it, but yet, what is it that's, I'm blocking it, and I'm like, why?
Well, for starters, your attention to the fact that it's blocked. Now, you want to say, but I didn't start noticing it was blocked before it got blocked. We're going to walk you through this all the way, and you'll feel it completely. But let's start with your first realization that it didn't come. Now, you said, in your own words, you said to us, it wasn't the plan for it to happen that quickly. It wasn't the plan for it to happen that quickly. It just sort of, you didn't use the word freakishly, but you meant it freakishly did. It wasn't the plan. But yay. But yay anyway. So then the money didn't show up right away. So then you started looking for the reason that the money didn't show up. So now you're on the trail of what the problem is. So as you're on the trail of what the problem is, that's hardly the path of least resistance. That's the path of most resistance. And what you uncovered was someone who doesn't even have the capacity to block it, who is blocking it.
Yeah.
So it's like he's inspired by your vibration to do something that he's never, ever been able. Now, part of it, it ties into the conversation that we had earlier. It ties into the conversation about somebody making the decision that you shouldn't get such a big piece of the pie or whatever, because he doesn't understand that you create your own pie. But we want you to think about that just a little bit too, because you don't really believe that you create your own pie either, because it feels like a pie that somebody else has control over. And you prove to yourself that it feels like a pie that somebody else has control over it, because people are standing there with, and so if we were standing in your physical shoes, we'd just step back from it all just a little bit, and we would remind ourselves that that guy does not have the capacity to really sit on this, that this is something that is assigned by the position, not by the amount of time spent there, and that if you were not deemed capable of accomplishing the position, you would not have been given the title and the added responsibilities of all of that. So everything for the most part is flowing, and yes, it all sort of got a little ahead of itself because you are unique and you are powerful and you are clear-minded and you mean well and you really like what you're doing and you're really good at it. There's lots of path of least resistance, and that's coming along too. But you don't let it come along when you look at the piece that isn't coming along and highlight it.
Yeah, because I've had struggle where, because I'm going out, I don't have a clinical background, I've doubted myself. So I guess it was all me blocking it. I'm amazed that I was able to so strongly block it through someone I only met 3 minutes or 5 minutes. And You know what I mean? That's what. And then I think, well, if I can do that, why can't I just poof?
Well, you are. You did do that. You see, you're helping us to talk about something that we haven't talked about all day here, and that is the path of least resistance is coming in response to whatever vibration you've got going on. So if in fact you're not believing in yourself, and if in fact you believe that it's all happening too soon, then that's the vibration that you've got going, and you manifested someone to validate that right away.
Yeah, I did that real well.
So that's all right, because in that contrast, you've launched more rockets, and the rockets that you've launched, in other words, you are acknowledging that you are capable of this position, that it's not a clinical position that's necessary, it's an organizational person that's necessary. In other words, you are perfect for that environment. That's exactly why you were moved forward so quickly. You were exactly what they want and what they need in that position. And so find that unconditional emotional place and revel in that just for a little while. This is the right place, and this is the right time for me, and I'm good at this, and I really like being good at this. And as you do that instead of that, as you focus upon the aspects of it that are working for you, that are in alignment, you'll come into complete alignment with your inner being about it. And when you join concert with your inner being, you are a immovable object. You are a path worth reckoning with. In other words, one who's connected is more powerful than a million who are not, you see. When you get in sync with who you are, he won't be able to buck that current. He lined up with the current you had going. When you get a different current going, he won't be able to buck that current, you see.
So next time I see him, I should thank him for the contrast and not... Yeah.
Or you could take the path of least resistance
And mind my
and
own
mind your own
business.
business.